Hello, everyone. Welcome to my office. My name is Lisa Larter, and I am thrilled that you are here today. This is my home office in Naples, Florida, and I am just so happy that you have decided to join me on the very first Profit Primer webinar. What I would really like for you to do is leave a comment in the Facebook comments and let me know, where are you right now? I'm going to be checking comments on my trusty little iPad later on as we go, and I really want to know where you are all from so that I know where everybody is as they're watching this. The other thing I want you to know as you're watching this, if for some reason the comments freeze up on you, there's a little toggle button that you can press just to refresh the comments. So you can just resort the order. So go to like most recent and then go to chronological, and you should be able to refresh those comments without actually losing this video feed. So I want to just tell you a little bit about me. So who am I? I left my corporate job in 2006 and I opened my own business. I opened a TELUS store. I came from the wireless industry, and in the last 8 years I built that business into a business that did over $1 million a year in sales, and I sold that business and I started my consulting business a few years ago. So I've actually been full-time in my consulting business from 2011. I was half-time 2010 and like 1 day a week in 2009. My consulting business has been a really, really rewarding business, and literally we've gone from zero to over $500,000 in sales. And the reason that I share that with you is not to brag, but this is a webinar about priming your business for profits. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about my business today, and I'm going to share examples of things that I do to build and grow my business so that you can take some of those things away and use them in your business. I also want you to know that life wasn't always like that for me. You know, my mom and my dad split up when I was 4 years old, and my mom and I grew up without a lot of money. Anybody who knows single moms know that they don't have it easy. It's hard to raise a child on your own. And partway through my last year of high school, I quit school. So I didn't finish high school. I didn't go to college or university. I started to work my way up the corporate ladder in retail, and in 1997, I went to work for TELUS, which is a wireless telecommunications company in Canada, and that really changed my life in a lot of ways. So I want you to know that it doesn't matter where you're at right now in your business. You know, a year from now is going to go by, 5 years from now is going to go by, 10 years is going to go by, and you have the power to make changes in your life and in your business starting today. So if you're not happy with the situation you have right now, make a conscious choice to do something about it. When I think back to when I was in my early 20s and I lived paycheck to paycheck, overdraft to overdraft, I didn't like that situation. But when I was 25, I made a decision to not continue to live that way. So you can do the same thing, and I hope that this webinar will inspire you to think of some ways that you can actually change your business and change your life at the same time. So I'm assuming that you're here because you either own a business or you aspire to own a business. And if you own a business, you probably would like to find ways to scale and grow your business. Most of these small business owners that I talk to tell me things like, Lisa, I work too hard and I don't pay myself enough. I don't have time with my family. I don't know where to go to get new business. It's a lot harder than I ever imagined. Sometimes I feel like I should give up and I should go back and get a job. And when I hear things like that, it really pulls at my heartstrings, because I believe that everybody can build a successful business if they have the right tools in their toolbox. But just like you can't build a house with only a hammer, you need a bunch of different tools to build that house. You cannot build a business with just a creative idea. You need different tools in your business to take that idea from concept to profit. So we're going to talk about some of the ways that you can do that here today. You know, I want you to know that the intention that I have behind the series of Profit Primer webinars that I'm going to offer in 2015 is to really help as many people as I can take some really tangible, easy ways to increase profits in their business. I feel like part of my calling or part of my gift is to simplify business for people and inspire and empower them to really stand up tall and own their business and create better results in their business. And before we finish this webinar, yeah, I'm going to offer you a way to continue to learn from me if you want. But guess what? You don't have to worry about that because we've got tons and tons of great content. And what I'm going to offer you is so easy peasy that it's not even funny. I got to tell you, I am sick and tired of launches that are, you know, $9.97, $19.97, $29.97. That's not my style. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. I actually went through a really difficult phase in my life this year where I felt like I was going from program to program to program. I felt like I couldn't gather enough information. I felt like I lost my way. I felt like I went from wanting to make a difference to wanting to just make money. I felt like I needed to do launch after launch after launch, and that the only way to success was to do a $100,000 launch. And I felt like a failure sometimes because I would do webinars like this and not enough people would show up. I would speak and not enough people would buy. And what I realized is launch after launch after launch and speaking to sell or speaking to manipulate people to buy didn't feel good to me. And so I went away for a couple weeks in August. My husband and I went on a trip to Europe, and I shut off all my technology while we were away. I got really clear on what mattered to me in my business, and I made a conscious choice not to do that stuff anymore. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have offers and programs that people can take. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stop speaking, but I'm going to stop following the models that I felt like I had to emulate in order to be successful. I've gotten back in touch with what matters and what brings meaning to me. And although I'm not perfect and sometimes I might feel like I get off track, I am super focused on what makes me feel good in my business. I want my business to be easy. I want it to feel good. I want to move forward with grace. You know, one of the reasons that I'm doing this video here, or this webinar rather, it's not a video, it will become a video, but one of the reasons that I'm doing this here in my office is because it's easy to do in my office. You know, I've got my iMac propped up on about 10 books so that it sits up high with my webcam. I've got lights on my desk, I've got my flip chart, and I'm ready to go. You know, I don't have a great big slide presentation for you. I've got some ideas and concepts that I want to share because I want to show up and do what feels good, and I really want to inspire you to show up in your business and do more of what feels good and less of what feels icky. When you listen to your intuition about the way to run your business, it's really amazing how things can either stay the same or grow. When I made a conscious choice in August to stop speaking to sell and to stop doing hard-hitting launches, my business didn't fall down. In fact, my business has grown from September to December, even over last year's sales. And I haven't done crazy launches. You know, I sent out 2 emails inviting people to come to this webinar. I don't want to inundate you over and over and over again because that doesn't feel good to me. So my belief is you don't have to do it somebody else's way. You can figure out the right way to run your business yourself. And what I want to do today is I want to teach you what I consider to be some timeless business principles that you can apply. These are not systems. This is not hype. These are old, tried and true methods of looking at your business. I want you to go back to the basic and look at how do you actually grow a solid, reputable business. How do you start by looking at your business foundation and build and scale your business so that you can actually increase sales and keep more profits in your pocket. That's what I want to talk to you about. So I'm going to use all of the methods that have served me, actually not all, 3 of the methods that have served me well in my business, and I'm going to share them with you today in a way that I think will be easy for you to remember and easy for you to implement. So are you ready? Let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is what I call sand, pebble, rock. And you have probably seen the science experiment where the teacher takes a jar, and in that jar he's got, a pile of sand, a pile of pebbles, and some big rocks. And if you put sand in the jar, and then you put pebbles in the jar, and then you put the big rocks in the jar, it doesn't all fit. But if you put the big rocks in, and then you put the pebbles in, and then you put the sand in, it's amazing how you can fill that container so that that is a solid entity. It's something really good. Everything fits and works well together. Well, I want you to start thinking about sand, pebbles, and rocks in your business. Earlier this year, when I was in launch mode, I went through this whole thing where I wanted to sell a $7 ebook. I was hell-bent on selling $7 ebooks, creating sequences where people could buy $7 ebooks, because I have that dream, just like you. Want to make money while I sleep, want to have something that's easy for people to buy. And I spent hour after hour after hour, and I spent money trying to perfect my sales page, trying to perfect the offer, trying to perfect the copy that we sent out. And reality is, we sold some. Yeah, we sold 1, 2, 3 a day. But I got to tell you, if you want to do $100,000 in ebooks, you need to sell over 14,000 ebooks. That's a lot of ebooks. Think about that. 14,000 ebooks at $7 is a lot of work. If only 10% of the people who come to your website buy, that means you need 140,000 people to come to your website in order to make that happen. So I realized that I was focusing on the wrong things. And often when I talk to business owners, they're focusing on sand, or they're focusing on low-hanging fruit instead of focusing on the big rocks, because they're afraid of the big rocks. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of pricing their services too high. So what I want to do is I want to share with you how I create rocks, pebbles, and sand in my business and how it has served me. So in my business, I have a one-to-one methodology. I have a one-to-many methodology. I have a zero-to-many. And I have a team-to-one. These are my big rocks, because when people work with me privately, they pay a lot more money for my coaching than they pay to be part of a group program. When people hire my team to do implementation work for them, they spend a lot more money than when people come into a group program. So one-to-one and one-to-team allows me to have a high-level price point that becomes the foundation of the business. One-to-many is a lower-end price point. Maybe it's something like a profit pod where people spend $1,000 for group coaching, or a day of masterminding where people come together and they learn about their business together, or even like my planning workshop that I did earlier this year. Zero-to-many is typically a lower price point again. Zero-to-many is something that I can create that continues to work over and over again. So my ebooks do that. The pilot project does that. The content pilot does it. The sales pilot does it. The very first time I create that program, it's really up here. But once the work is done, it moves down here because the program can now take care of itself. But if you have aspirations to build a 6 or a 7-figure business, you got to sell a lot of $7 ebooks, a lot of $97 programs, even a lot of $500 or $1,000 coaching programs to get there. So whatever your business is, the takeaway that I want you to take right now is, what are your rocks, pebbles, and sand? How many rocks do you need to scale your business to the level that you want it to be at? What is your mix of rocks, pebbles, and sand? And have you thought that through in terms of what your business looks like? Now, this concept is applicable to any business. Think about the airline industry. The airline industry, the big rock is airfare. You get on that plane and you fly somewhere, that's the big ticket item. The pebbles is luggage, it's insurance. The sand is the incidentals you buy while you're traveling. You know, the coffee, the pop, the glass of wine, bag of chips that you get when you're on the plane. Can you imagine if the airlines tried to build their entire business by selling pop and chips? It would take them an awful lot of selling in order to recoup the actual cost of running the business. So what I find happens, sorry, I have a hair itching my nose. What I find happens is a lot of people end up focusing on things down here, and it feels so hard to push your way up to where you want to go. Whereas if you focus on the big rocks and you actually learn how to make that work in your business, all of this other stuff becomes a lot easier for you to do. So your homework is figure out what your rocks, pebble, and sand look like in your business. I want you to figure out how many of each you need in order to make your next year successful. And then I want you to drill down a little bit more and ask yourself, are you prioritizing enough time on the big rocks? So I want to share a story with you about what I did to basically reverse engineer $1 million business. So back in 2011, my business did about $150,000, $160,000 that year. And I was on a plane flying home from an event one night, and I just thought, you know what the heck, I am going to dream big. And I decided to write down a plan for $1 million business. And I got really clear on what it was that I needed to do to build that $1 million business. And I took my big rocks and I literally separated them from January to December. And I calculated the revenue if I just added one each month of the year. And literally by adding one additional big rock all the way through the calendar, I could take my business from where it was to $1 million. Because each of these big rocks was equated approximately at about $20,000 a year. And if you want to do $1 million a year in sales, you need $83,333 a month to create $1 million business. If you want to create a $100,000 business, you just got to drop a 3 off. You need $8,333. Well, $8,333 divided by 4 is really $2,000 a week, and $2,000 a week divided by 5 days is $400 a day. When you start breaking it down like that and figuring out what can you sell, would you rather sell a $400 widget 5 days of the week? Or would you rather sell one $2,000 widget once a week? Or would you rather sell one $20,000 widget once a month? That was what I decided I wanted to do. I really wanted to focus on the $20,000 widget. And what happened is my business went from $150,000 to $520,000 in 12 months. I didn't do anything spectacular. I'm not a magician. I'm not a master salesperson. All I did was I got clear about what I wanted. I made a list of the different types of clients that I wanted to fit this profile. And I actively started reaching out to people and networking and offering my services where I saw an opportunity. And by being intentional and deliberate and focusing on that big rock, I was able to actually not quite quadruple, but triple and a bit, triple and a half my business. So get clear on what your big rock is, figure out what it is that you're trying to make, and then reverse engineer it so that you can do it. You know, if you want to sell products, if you want programs, if you want widgets, whatever it is that you're selling, figure out what the average value or the average sale is for each of those items, and figure out how many do you need to sell. And what I like to do, because I'm a little bit of a sales pig, even though I really don't like selling, I can't help it. I grew up in that culture and I love numbers, is I like to look at my big rocks, and that's the only goal I set, and then everything else is gravy. So take whatever your number is for 2015, break it down, reverse engineer it, figure out what you need to do each month of the year, and how, if you have a business like I do where it builds, so the $20,000 client doesn't pay typically $20,000 in advance, they pay a certain amount up front and then $1,500 a month. So as I did this, I went from $1,500 to $3,000 to $4,500 to $6,000 to $7,500, and it grew all the way up to about $25,000, $28,000 a month, just in that one product set by the end of that year. So figure out what the formula is for you. You can reverse engineer it. The problem is people they play in the sand. And they get caught up in the sand, and they don't think big. They don't think big picture and figure out what is it that I need to do to really grow my business. And then you're stuck trading hours for dollars and working too hard and not having time to spend with your family and not having money in the bank to give you the freedom to do what you want to do. I am telling you, it does not have to be that way. I owned a retail store, and now I own a consulting business. The last 2 years of owning my retail business, I was an absentee owner. I sold that retail business in 2012 when a lot of wireless dealers were walking away from their business because nobody would buy them. And I did it because I had great systems in place in terms of how we generated revenue and how we focused on our numbers to grow, which actually made it scalable and saleable. All right. Next thing I want to talk to you about is what I call the secret to scaling. So last week, I think it was, I was watching The Prophet. If you haven't watched The Prophet on TV, you really should watch The Prophet. In fact, I would say download The Prophet on your iPad and watch it if you can. He went into this ice cream shop. And, this family, they were doing okay with their ice cream. They had, green tea ice cream. I think they had 3 flavors of green tea. And the dad was super comfortable, and the son really wanted to scale the business. But they didn't really know their numbers, and they weren't really, the dad was afraid, and the son was frustrated. And Marcus, the guy from The Prophet, said, you need to go wide and deep. And I was like, that's what I tell people. That's what I do in my business. And it was an aha moment when he said that, because I realized that a lot of people don't think that way. A lot of people don't understand what it means to build a business where you are going wide and you're going deep. When you're going deep, you have a product line that allows people to continue to work with you. You allow people to buy more from you. Banks go deep. They get your personal savings, they get your business account, they get your kids account, they get your RSP, they get your mortgage, your line of credit, your credit card. They have all these little ties that keep you connected to them so you stay deep. Well, how do you go wide? Wide is all about distribution. Where do you get shown? So in The Prophet, what Marcus did with these guys is they expanded their ice cream line. They added more flavors. They added gelato. They opened their own warehouse, and they started producing ice cream in-house so that they could keep more profits. And then they changed their distribution strategy. They started distributing from a retail perspective as well as from a wholesale perspective. And because they were making their own products, they now were able to do things on a whole nother level. So in my business, there are 3 key areas that I focus on, 3 ways. One is what I would call client type. The second is what I would call distribution channel. And the third is what I would call online versus in person. So when I think about a client type, some of the things that come up for me are, one of them might be authors, another might be retailers, another might be shopping centers, another might be coaches, another might be speakers, another might be corporations. When I think in terms of channels, I've got my own website. I could do affiliate programs if I wanted. I could do joint ventures. I could do reselling. I could take programs that I've created and resell them on a site like Udemy so that they're actually selling my program instead of me selling my program. Another distribution channel might be, I just had one and now I lost it. All right, I'll let it go because I lost my train of thought, and we're not going to keep waiting. If it comes back to me, I'll share. The other thing is online versus in person. So you've got web, you've got social, but you also have face-to-face. So figuring out what are the ways that you can expand distribution by getting out there and meeting people. Is it attending conferences? Is it speaking? Is it certain organizations or like chambers of commerce or networking groups that you want to be part of? Actually looking at how do you expand your reach. Now I want to clarify one thing. Expanding your reach does not mean spray and pray your marketing. All right? Expanding your reach means you know who your client is and your efforts and your message are to talk to them. So if I'm talking to somebody who owns a retail store, I'm going to talk to them about sales per square footage. I'm going to talk to them about inventory mix. I'm going to talk to them about average sale, items per sale, how much inventory they have on hand, how they merchandise their store, what type of items are their best sellers, and how do they put that up front so that they can draw traffic across the lease line. When I'm talking to a coach, I'm going to talk about how to create one-on-one programs, one-to-many programs, and online programs. I'm not going to use the exact same language for every single person I talk to. So start thinking about how you talk to your customers. If you talk to every single person like they're exactly the same, you're boring, you're vanilla. You need to show that you can go to where that person is and you understand them. You know, whether you sell to moms, you sell to dads, you sell to kids, you sell to grandparents, you sell to business owners. Know the language to talk to your customer. Now let's talk about how do you go deep so you keep them. Well, in my business, I have a free offer. I have a $7 ebook offer. I have the pilot project. I have the content pilot. I have the sales pilot. I have day of masterminding. I have profit pods. I have VIP coaching. I have quick start coaching and strategy. And I have done for you services. So I allow somebody to start here. But if they want to buy every single thing that I offer, they can. They're not going to buy everything at once. But if you get them to become a customer and you do a really good job of delivering and showing up, guess what? They will continue to come back and they will continue to buy from you. So figure out what your distribution is and figure out how you go deeper than you are right now with whatever your business model is, and you will be able to serve more people and you will be able to scale and increase your profits. Take what I just taught you in the beginning. Figure out your big rocks, your pebbles, and your sand. Reverse engineer what it is you want to make and know how those three elements apply, and then take a look at this. Figure out how do you go wide and how do you go deep so that you can actually make it happen. And please, I hear this all the time. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at numbers. I really don't look at that stuff. If you are in business, business is not about trading 4 quarters for $1. Business is about looking at the bottom line. It's about looking at the financials. It's about looking at sales, profit, cash flow. I look at those things almost obsessively. I log into my bank account probably 3 to 5 times a week. I check my receivables on my invoices almost daily. I update the sales in my business on a weekly basis so that I know exactly where things are. I measure how many people joined my list, how many people opted out of my list. I bugged Shannon probably every 3 hours when we invited people to join this webinar and set up some Facebook ads to see how many people were actually registered. Numbers are data, and data tells you a story that helps you to scale your business. You don't have to be afraid of the numbers. So I want to talk to you about what my big goal is. My really, really, really big goal this year is I want to help 1,000 people earn more income in 2015 than they did in 2014. I want to guide them, and I want to show them how I have done it in my business, and I want to help them get real results. And I'm super, super passionate about this because I have worked with so many people who are struggling in their business, and I want to see those business owners make it. I want to see us change the average. The average is most businesses go under in the first 5 years, and those who do make it, there's a high percentage of those, I think 80%, that go under in the next 5 years. You know, I've built businesses that have lasted the 5-year mark. I am very confident, based on the success of my business, that it will exceed the 10-year mark because I'm fanatical about what I measure. I measure what matters because it's a business, and the bottom line is the true measurement of success in your business. So what I want to know is, do you want to learn more? Do you want to learn how to do this stuff? Do you want to learn how to take control of your business, your sales, your financials, and actually build a solid foundation for your business? I don't know if you believe in intuition. Some people think it's a little bit hokey and a little bit woo-woo, but in March of 2013, I was in the shower, and I had this crazy idea to build a program that would help people in their business. I was known for social media back then, and when I was in the shower, I kept hearing these 8 different things that people wanted to learn. And so I got out of the shower, and I went and I grabbed a pen and a piece of paper, and I wrote the 8 things down. And then, you know, I went back and I blow dried my hair and got dressed and all that stuff, and I came and I wrote a message on Facebook, and I asked people if they would be interested in learning those 8 things. Those 8 things to me were how to build a solid business foundation so that you're positioning yourself to grow. I launched that program in 2013 for $47. 140 people went through the program. I then doubled the price to $97 and said I will never run it again for $47. And 140 people went through it again. And then I increased it to $147 or $197, and we still had all kinds of people that went through the program. Well, this month I decided to make the pilot project $47 again. And it's because I want to help 1,000 people make a difference in their business next year. So before everybody goes, oh, she wants to make a lot of money here, let's put this into perspective. 1,000 people times $47 is $47,000. My business will exceed the 500,000 mark this year easily. It's already exceeded the 500,000 mark. It's already beat last year's sales. So this is not a money grab. This is about my passion. And it's also about my belief, which is if you don't invest in you, then you don't take what is being offered to you seriously. I want to help people grow their business, and I believe I have a gift. I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I just know that I've worked with a lot of people, and they've come back and they've said to me, I just closed my biggest sale. I just made more money than I've ever made in 1 month. I made more money in 1 month than I've made in a year. I quadrupled my business. I just made an extra $80,000 this quarter because of what you taught me. I just closed a 7-figure deal because of one thing you taught me in the pilot project. People come to me without being asked to share those stories. And so I think, what would happen in this world if 1,000 of us all increase the size of our business next year? What would that mean to your family? What would that mean to your community? What would that mean to your ability to give back? A year is going to go by, whether you decide to do something different or not. My ask is consider joining the pilot project. Consider letting me lead and inspire you through some of the mucky number stuff that people don't enjoy, so that you can create a solid foundation the first quarter in 2015 and set your business up for success for the rest of the year. I'm going to give you templates, tools, resources. And if you're on this webinar and you're part of the pilot project, can you leave a comment and tell people, do I show up and answer questions all the time? Like, I am in our Facebook community answering questions and helping people all the time. So what is the pilot project? It's easy. Really, it's 8 lessons. It starts off with a questionnaire, which is going to make you get a little bit naked in your business. You got to look at everything. And the reason that I ask you to look at everything in your business, it's the starting point for growth. If you don't know where you're starting, then how do you know at the end whether or not it's actually made a difference? So for me, that's my guidepost to say that I did a good job. If I can move the needle from when you start to when you end, then I did a good job. But you got to do the work in the middle. So the first lesson is about getting clear on your model and getting your business model, your revenue model, and what it is that you're going to measure. And the second week is all about the systems that you use to track sales, expenses, cash flow, and I give you my own personal templates that I use in my business, so you don't even have to create them. And I color code them so that you know where to input your numbers, so the formulas are all built in. You don't even need to do the math. The third week, we talk about how to hire and when to hire resources. And I share with you my factory capacity model on how I built my business and how I employ the people that I employ, but I still make a profit. And I make a healthy profit in my business, and I have a happy team that enjoy what they do, and they are fairly compensated for the work that they do. I'm going to teach you how to ask for more money. Whether you're afraid to close a sale on a high-ticket item in a retail store, or you're afraid to close a sale in your business, I'm going to show you how to ask for what you're worth and be comfortable talking about money, especially women. One of our biggest roadblocks is we have these big hearts and we want to help people. And as soon as we talk about money, it is really, really uncomfortable. Let's start getting comfortable with talking about money, because that's going to change everything in our world. I'm going to help you get to know your client so that you can get better at your marketing message and you can get better at recognizing your client. Because sometimes your client shows up and you don't even see them. Sometimes you got ideas going on in your head like, oh, I live in Ottawa, that market's not very good. Well, I beg to differ. I have an awful lot of clients in Ottawa, but other people tell me, no, Ottawa's a tough market. Well, what you believe is true. So if you believe it's a tough market, it is a tough market. But when you all of a sudden take your rose-colored glasses off and you see that there are people right in front of you who want to do business with you, everything changes. I'm going to teach you how to be a really good communicator, how to actually set expectations with people in a clear manner so that they can deliver. Business owners are, cook, bottle washer, everything, right? I don't know, chief cook and bottle washer, chef cook and bottle washer, I don't know, I got it all messed up. But you know what I mean. You're doing everything. And you don't delegate, because when you delegate, it doesn't get done the way you would do it. Well, guess what? That's because you're not communicating it the right way. I'm going to teach you how to communicate and set expectations so that you can get more done through other people. The following week, I'm going to teach you how to have boundary conversations, because reality is sometimes you have to set boundaries with customers who are treating you inappropriately and with team members who are not performing. So instead of putting in your head in the sand and shying away from those conversations, I'm going to give you some tools and skills so that you can confront them head on and articulate yourself in a really positive manner and still maintain your power. And then the last thing we're going to do is, we're in week number 8, is how to nurture the bottom line without obsessing about the numbers. I'm going to give you some ways to do that so you can continue to grow your business without being freaked out about the numbers and actually feel good. I have people who tell me, Lisa, I learned to love my numbers. That's what my goal is. I want you to love your numbers. I want you to love growing your business. I want you to love serving your clients. And I want it to be easy for you to do. So the program, if you click on the pilot project on the top of this page, it'll open up in a new window. You can read about it there. It's $47. $47 for you to continue on this journey of building and scaling your business. $47, and for an 8-week period, you get to ask me anything you want in a Facebook group, and I will actually answer your questions. Truth, I will answer every question. I want you to join me. I want you to be one of those people that says, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready for things to be a bit easier. I'm ready to increase my business. I'm ready to take 2015 seriously. The program is easy to consume. You get an email a week and you get an audio file. You can listen to the audio file when you're in your car, which means you don't really need any extra time. You can read it on your phone. You can print it and put it in a file. You can read it on your iPad when you're lying in bed at night. You know, it's easy for you to access the information. The hardest part is actually taking what you're learning and putting it into practice. But you won't be alone. There's already 130 people who are ready to go in 2015 and a whole bunch of alumni, because alumni get to go through the program as many times as they want for free, and that applies to you too if you join the program. They're all going to probably join the program as well to kick off 2015. So I'd love for you to show up. I really want to thank you for being here today, and I'd like to listen to your questions now. So I'm going to grab my trusty little iPad, and I'm going to see what kind of comments you've been leaving me, what kind of questions you have for me, and I'm going to answer some of them. All right. Thank you, Jane. All right, I don't have any questions. Oh, wait, view more comments. Okay, I see lots of places where people are, but I'm not seeing any questions. Joey, you've registered and stoked. You're going to love it, Joey. Thank you, Elizabeth. Hey, Jen. No, Diane, I can't see you. All I can see is my camera. I could see you if I was using a Google Hangout and I only had 9 people on, but we're using YouTube live events to do this, which means I'm live streaming, so I can't see everyone else because there's more than 9 people that have registered. Oh, hi, Tara. Welcome back. All right. I don't see any questions. Oh, so my question, this is a really good question, Victoria. So my question is, life is insanely busy. If I fall behind, what happens? Do you know what? Building your business is a marathon. It's not a sprint. There is no such thing as falling behind. You might fall behind 1 week on the assignments, but you can pick up and continue to move forward and do the work at your pace. It's not a race. The content is delivered over an 8-week period, but you have access to that group. You have access to the materials forever. And every time I run the program live like this, because you are an alumni, you get invited back. So I have some alumni that have gone through this program 4 times. And every time they jump back in and they say, I got something new out of it. Or I got stuck on week 4 last time. This time I got through week 4 and made it to week 7. So it's not about worry. You don't have to worry about getting stuck. You want to go at your own pace and just continue to take baby steps and move forward. Moving forward slowly is better than never moving forward at all. Thank you for asking that question because it was a really good one. Well, is that it for questions? Let me see. I'll refresh one more time. On my iPad, it doesn't give me the option to sort the comments like you guys get to sort. forgot to ask questions. That's okay, Deborah. I know you're already in the program, so you can ask all kinds of questions there. The deep part, that's a good question too, Deborah. Wide and deep. So the deep part is offering a variety of products to each client, or is it getting more clients? The deep part is about allowing your clients to continue to go deep with you. The wide part is about getting more clients. So you may want authors, you may want retailers, shopping centers, coaches, speakers. Those are the clients. It's about getting clear on the distribution model and the types of clients that you want versus being so narrowly focused that you can't actually get more clients. The deep part is about having more than one thing to offer them. If all you have to offer them is one widget, once they've bought that widget, they're one and done. My suggestion is you go deep. Give them a reason to come back. Give them a reason to continue to do business with you. Allow them to see the succession of where they can move. A lot of my clients will start with a free offer, a $7 ebook. They'll go through the pilot project. Then maybe they'll come to a day of masterminding. Maybe they'll do a quick start or a VIP program, and then sometimes we end up doing implementation work for them. So there's a succession of what they can do. Whew, it's warm in here. Awesome, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Two Kims. Awesome, Kim Barnwell, and thank you, Kim Dalrymple. Thank you, Lori. Thanks, Victoria. Sarah, we typically run them live twice a year. So on my schedule right now, I've got the pilot project live January and February, and then I believe it's live again in July. So I try to run it twice a year for people live, and the rest of the year, if people buy the program, they do it like as a self-study. They're not going through it with the big group. I'll tell you the benefit of going through it with a big group. You learn a lot from other people's questions. You build a lot of relationships with other people who are in the group. And one of the things that I have found people do is they start to create these little communities. So they have accountability groups, and they meet in person, and they work through the homework, and they actually help each other. So it actually allows you to meet more people in your community if you have, if you're from a place where other people have registered. And if not, people are using Skype to connect, or you could even use a live event like this on Google Hangouts, and you guys could all come together and work through some of your exercises. It's actually great. Aaron, great question. Does the pilot project work if you're just starting your business? Absolutely. What a lot of people say to me is they wish they had known this before they started their business. So some of the things that you're going to learn, it's going to help you to build your foundation. Just like you need a foundation when you build a house, you need a foundation when you build a business. And if you don't build a solid foundation, your house will fall down. If you don't build a solid foundation when you build a business, your business will fall apart. So I believe that while tracking some of the numbers, you may not be able to do that if your business is brand new, but you can set up the framework for tracking and use all of the tools and resources to actually start your business off the right way. You know, when I opened my store back in 2006, within 90 days, I thought I was going to go bankrupt. I was $100,000 in debt for inventory that I ordered for the Christmas season that I hadn't sold. And I started to take all of these tools that I had used in the corporate world and apply them to my business. And tracking my cash flow was one of the things that helped me get out of that hole. I didn't know what cash flow meant. I didn't know how to track my numbers. I knew what income and expense was from working in the corporate world. But when you run your own business and you're looking at your business financials, it's different than any job you've ever had. You know, one other thing that just kind of came up for me is when you run your business, you want to keep your money clean. What goes into your business should go into your business account, and what goes into your personal account should go into your personal account. If you want to take money from your business, write a check from your business account, classify what that money is for, transfer the money over. Don't mix your business expenses and your personal expenses all together in the same pot, because you'll end up with a disaster. It's like trying to make, I don't know, it's like trying to make spaghetti sauce and chicken soup in the same pot. You just don't want to do that. All right. Well, I think that is it for questions. If there is a question that I have missed, please feel free to go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/social media for your business, and you can leave a question there, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Just double checking. All right. I don't see any other questions. So thank you. Thank you for being here, especially a week before Christmas. I appreciate your time, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas. May you have a wonderful rest of December with friends and family members, and I hope to see you in our private Facebook community for the pilot project soon. Thank you all. Have a good day.